Hello, and welcome to another episode of the 5 Core Life podcast with Will Moore, founder of More Momentum. Today, we are talking all about narcissism, something called Narcissist Personality Disorder. If you're not familiar with it, you will be after this episode. Lee Hammock comes in and talks about his own experience dealing with NPD and how to define narcissism for those that maybe aren't quite familiar or what the signs are to spot one. If you haven't already, go ahead and pound that subscribe button so you get notified when episodes air every week. Are you ready to fire on all cylinders? If so, let's go.
Hey, how you doing?
So glad to have you on, man.
So I saw this. So I'm not the game designer, Lee Hammock. I saw that just pop up on here.
Oh.
I don't do the game design part of it. I saw that biography of the dude, the other Lee Hammock that does the game design and the other stuff. But I'm just the mental health person. You know, I was
mistaken identity. Well,
yeah, I said,
you know what?
Where did it come from? I was like, huh?
We can talk. We can talk about some of that stuff. It's kind of, I don't know if it's interesting to you, but I apologize. So I looked you up, and I actually had my team. We just had some new people in our team, and bottom line was transition. Normally, I have an hour before the show. I go through in detail the person, and that person's is going back to college, and so we basically I did it myself and. User error. I looked up the wrong Lee. So sorry about that.
No, that's fine because I saw it pop up. I was like, games on. I don't remember putting that
That's
down.
all right. Well, I got a good little conversation in about gamification, which is super important. So let's talk about you. What is it that you're doing, and how are you helping the world to build momentum?
All right. So the way I'm helping the world. So my name is Lee Hammock, of course. And the way I'm helping the world right now is to bring awareness to mental health issues, personality disorders, and things of that nature. My platform on Instagram is growing a little bit more here and there, but on TikTok, which is my main platform, is like 670,000 people now that I have following me over there. Wow. That I'm bringing awareness to, narcissistic personality disorder, helping getting people into therapy, and helping people overall try to live better, healthier lives. When I'm trying to get more people into therapy and open up the minds of people to realize that, therapy isn't the end of the world. Like the stigma that comes with therapy, like just because you go to therapy doesn't mean that you're, crazy and stuff like that.
That's right. I mean, and I'm on the exact same boat and page as you. And I'm always telling people it's like why there's still this stigma. It's getting better, I think, but this stigma with just self-help in general. It's like, I don't need help. What do I need? What am my brain broken? Why do I need help? And especially when I don't know how old you are, but when I was a teen and I was struggling with stuff and I kind of was looking at how to get help, I was totally ashamed. I started reading self-help books and I loved them, but I was kind of do it secretly. I didn't want people to know, I was trying to, and it's yeah, we're out there and we're proudly, buying the Maserati and doing all the things to show what we think is makes us awesome and is a sign of success. Right. But the real success is getting your brain working for instead of against you and fixing issues and errors like you have. And if you can get help from other people, amen.
Yeah. So, I'm 36 years old. So I kind of come from that same, I don't know how old you are, but let's say I come from that same kind of, I was born in 85. So I know people just coming from where I come from in North Carolina, that people tend to, look down on you if you say anything about self-improvement, if it doesn't involve any kind of great monetary increase. If you're not making a lot of money based on your improvement and stuff like that, people tend to kind of look down on you and think that there is something wrong with you. Absolutely. But it's just kind of I go to therapy. I say I'm diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. So I go to therapy and I try to be open about it too, because I don't want to have to hide who I am from people. It gets kind of, it feels like I'm living a disingenuous existence when I have to lie to people about who I actually am. So I decided to start my TikTok account last year based on, just me trying to be honest and open with who I am. And it just kind of evolved into what it is now with me, touching nearly millions of lives now, people who know who I am just based on my videos. I've been on national TV talking about this, just kind of spread the message that, mental health and mental issues like personality disorders don't necessarily have to be a death sentence. That you can have a personality disorder or mental illness and you can live a somewhat normal existence, but you don't have to go around hiding your truth and continually hurting people because, you don't know what's going on inside of your head, pretty much. So that's my motivation for now.
thank you for doing that. You know, and people we have on the show. So my crew who booked you, you know, they found you, and you know, they know the types of people we want on the show. So even though you're not the gamification expert, to me, this is just as awesome. And you're basically you're doing something that is a niche of something that people just sort of look over. And it's like, you know, you look at a lot of these people, like just the society, the way we're set up, we look at these people as broken. And that's why these people, you know, they feel like they have to hide it. And like you said, not only is it affecting them negatively, but you made a point that, and I love that it's sort of like, it's also negatively affecting the people around them by having to hide it and not be genuine and get help and, you know, have everybody like understand what's going on with them. There's no way that people are gonna, you know, understand that, because it's their brain is working differently, and unless people can comprehend and understand, it's gonna be an issue.
Yeah. So that's what I've been trying to do. I've been trying to like let people inside of the way my brain works, and a lot of times I'm just brutally honest with how I think and how I process stuff. And people, you know, some people, it rubs a lot of people the wrong way and things like that. But most people, they take it, you know, for face value, and they just realize that they might be in a relationship with someone that has a similar mindset as me, that might have a personality disorder. Because you know that, you know, the word narcissist is thrown around a lot nowadays. Like everybody, if you break up with somebody, you're a narcissist. Like my ex-boyfriend is a narcissist, my mom's a narcissist, my dad's, like everybody is a narcissist to people. So it's thrown around so much that when people actually, you know, I might be a narcissist. Like me in particular, when my wife kind of yelled at me in an argument, I was just like, I was like, why did she call me that? So I looked it up online. I realized, you know, I fit into all this criteria. I was like, that's why I think the way I think. It kind of made sense to me. It kind of, you know, just gave me the answers to how I've been living my life. I was like, this makes so much sense to me, because like I've literally been kind of, you know, stifled my entire life, because I've always known that I was different, and my mindset was different, and my thought process was different. I just never knew why, you know. And
so you're saying that you're a self-diagnosed narcissist?
No, I've been
medical
in therapy. Yeah, I've been in therapy for like the last 4 years for it. You know, I've been diagnosed.
So tell me about, could you explain to the audience, because this is fascinating stuff. And right, I mean, I feel like that word is thrown around a lot, like you said, and it's like, I applaud you for actually looking in and being like, okay, what actually is this, and what does it mean, and versus just telling your wife, you're crazy. I ain't a narcissist. You know, you're crazy. You know, and so explain what it is and the symptoms and whatnot.
So, you know, narcissistic personality disorder is a cluster B disorder where people, you know, it comes with a, you know, the 9 traits or grandiosity, huge egos, you know, the lack of empathy, you know, just extremely delusional people that are very, very quick to anger and things like that. People that will write off your emotions, and people that lie, you know, cheating and gaslighting and things like that. So there's a plethora of things that come along with it. The diagnosis, I've been in therapy for the last since October of 2017 for it, and I've been, you know, pumping through. And then like about 2 years ago, I started my podcast about it, and then last year I started my TikTok account about it, and then kind of transferred to Instagram and YouTube and wherever I'm going now. And it's just kind of like opening up people's eyes to just the mindset of a person that's clinically diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. So it kind of like, because the blankets, you know, a lot of people, you know, people throw around narcissists, you know, all narcissists are evil people, all narcissists can't love, all narcissists don't care about their kids and stuff like that. All narcissists might be homosexual. It's just, you know, the blanket statements. And then when you put a face to it like mine, it's just like, look, I've been diagnosed. This is the life I'm living. This is how I process my thoughts. You know, this is why I get angry. This is why people cheat. This is why people lie and gaslight. And that's what I've been doing for the last, you know, over a year on TikTok now. And it's on Instagram and stuff like that now. I'm just trying to bring awareness to it, and then, you know, try to get more people into therapy that think they might have similar thought processes that I do. You know what I mean? And like I said, you have a similar, like if one of my videos resonates with you, and you might see yourself in me or whatnot, like go get help. Like you can live a somewhat normal existence like I do, but not have to hide behind who you are. Because for the longest, I've always known that something was wrong with me. Not something wrong. I known something was different with how I thought and how I processed.
How so? Like what were some of the symptoms, and what were some of the things that you felt like early on, like, okay, my brain works differently than other people.
Because I would be in a room full of people, like at a funeral or something like that, and everybody would be crying and sad and stuff like that. And I'd just be kind of disconnected from everybody. Like, why is this sad? You know, like it didn't happen to you. You know what I mean? I just feel like okay, why is everybody so sad right now in this funeral? Like, you're not dead. Like, why are you sad? You know, I didn't understand, like even growing up in my teenage years, I didn't understand why people would hold hands to show that you were in love. I like, isn't just being together enough and stuff like that? Even like in a room full of people, I would feel like I was by myself and everybody was watching me. I'd be paranoid and stuff like that. Like, why am I feeling like that? I would always, you know, just feel different. And
so basically, the world kind of, one of the symptoms is, sorry to interrupt you, like the world kind of revolves around you and everybody. You know, I mean, now that you're talking about, you know, I was so insecure when I was younger. I used to feel that way too. Like, everybody's eyes are on me. And I never really associated with narcissism. It was more, I was just super sensitive and like so in my own head. But yeah, I mean, now that you're saying that, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm not saying you're a narcissist. I just remember these thoughts and stuff like that growing up. And then I always felt like I was out of place. You know, I always felt like I was out of place in certain circumstances and things like that. I just like, this is, you know, I don't feel right. And I was always, you know, get extremely angry, get extremely disconnected from people and stuff like that. I didn't, you know, just relationships were short-lived. It was just, you know, it's just weird. Like, everybody else is getting married and in love and stuff like that. But I just would be different. I just like, I don't feel, you know, this doesn't feel right, you know. And then, like I said, I ended up getting married and, you know, having kids. And now I'm just like, then my wife threw it at me. And I said, then I like, damn, well, now I have answers. Now, this is why I'm like this. You know what I mean? This is why I think this way and have thought this way for so long. And it just kind of brought, you know, it brought a little bit of peace to me, but it also brought like a lot of chaos in my mind too. Because like, you think back on 30 years of how you've been acting and how you've been doing stuff and how you've been caring about your life and stuff like that, it does kind of change your mindset and how you, like, it just kind of makes you kind of, I know, you get caught in the moment of like a little bit of regret and stuff like that for how you've been treating people.
Right.
But then my therapist kind of kicks in and she just says, you know, you have to learn how to forgive yourself, and then you have to, you know, try to live the rest of your life from this point forward, like living in your truth. Because, you know, like, living in your truth allows you to be like a little bit more open to, you know, helping people and receiving love and stuff like that, and, you know, having a somewhat normal existence. So that's why I've been in therapy for my last 4 years, doing that, like trying to process that type of stuff and living in my truth and things like that.
So I just want to shine a big spotlight on this moment, and just kind of said it earlier, but I just really want to emphasize to people, anybody that hears this, watching this, so all of our brains work differently. We're all born uniquely. Nobody's good or bad. Nobody's broken. It just means your brain works differently. And if your brain works a certain way, if you try to hide it your whole life, which I used to do as well, I used to be so ashamed of the way my brain worked. I would have traded it for anything. Now I wouldn't trade my brain for the world. If you try to, right, it's the victim versus owner thing. It's like, if you're a victim, it's like, why is my brain broken? Oh, poor me. You know, maybe one day, you know, I'll hit the lottery or something great will happen to me, versus like, all right, I'm going to take ownership for this. And I'm going to basically say, like, this is who I am and I want to get help. And you're exposing yourself to the world and you've had this huge success. I mean, that's got to feel great, right? So it's like, ironically, everybody's trying to hide it. And now here you are exposing it and you're killing it. And it's got to feel very freeing, I'd imagine, right?
Yeah, it feels like I can kind of live. Like, there's the perfect word to describe it. Actually, it's like, it's kind of freeing, you know what I mean? But it's also kind of like, because people have such a negative image of what narcissists do. It's kind of like in my real life, when people see me and they see my stuff, they're like, I never knew you were like that. I never knew you. I would have never guessed. You know, people kind of judge me based on my disorder. They're like, you know, like people, like, I'm a real estate agent. So people in my own real estate office have started like kind of disliking my stuff on Facebook. Because like, this is weird. You know, it's just like, you liked me before you knew I had a disorder, but now like you like putting bad faces on my Facebook stuff. I'm like, that's weird. Like we literally talked and had long conversations, but now because you know I have a disorder, you're disliking my stuff and putting mad faces and angry stuff in my, like, you know, and that's kind of comes with the stigma of the narcissism. You know, that's the stigma that comes with it. Like, all narcissists have to be bad people, can't be trusted and stuff like that. But, you know, I've been in Facebook groups with thousands of people now that also have the same disorder, that are, you know, scared to live in their truth because they have a disorder. You know, people would join those groups, and the first thing out of their mouth was like sadness and despair. They'd be like, oh my goodness, I have NPD. I have narcissistic personality disorder. My life is over. Like, it's immediate despair. Like, people will even come to those groups with fake pages because they're like, my boss sees me in here, I'll get fired. I'm like, for having a disorder? I'm like, what did you do? You know, it's like, I can see you getting fired for doing some terrible stuff, but like, just for having some, you know, a disorder, like, it didn't make sense to me. So just from that point on, I was like,
right. I mean, and that's a perfect example of like our society's broken. I'm always saying that we're broken in a lot of ways, in that like we grow up and immediately we're starting to be fed what we think we should be. Get in line, join the herd, and if you're different, there's something wrong with you. You know, standardized testing. The school system needs to be completely revamped versus like focusing in on like, okay, this is how your brain works. This is how your brain works. All right, let's figure out how to make your brain, based on the brain that you have, how to make that work the best for you in your life so that you can be the happiest human being. And like you said, I mean, it's like there's so many negative stigmas with disorders. Narcissism in particular has an extremely negative one because it's like used as like a bad word. Like you said, your wife called you a narcissist, and most people would be like, F you. I don't know, you know, and but you were.
Say that to her. I did say she was a narcissist. So I did throw it back at her in the moment. Because I just knew, like, I didn't know the definition. It was something clinical. I just thought it was like she was saying that I was full of myself, and I was just like, why did you say that? You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, I'm confident because I have a lot of stuff going on. I'm trying to do, you know, like you said, I've been in the self-help and Tony Robbins and Les Brown and all that, Jim Rohn. I've been reading that stuff and listening to that stuff for years upon years, trying to figure out like how to be a better person and stuff like that. Because I know my thought process was way different than what I was reading and doing. I was like, I need to be a better person. So let me listen to this Tony Robbins. Let me listen to this Les Brown. This Jim Rohn on repeat.
Yeah, man, good for you.
You know,
that's it.
To try to try to, you know, progress forward and stuff like that. And I was just trying my hardest, you know, just to be a better person. But I never knew it was actually an issue because like I actually have a twin brother. You know, that he doesn't have the same personality disorder I have. He's like a great person. He's a school teacher, lots of friends. You know, everybody likes him and stuff like that. And me, anyway, I'm a real estate agent. Now, you know, I have some TikTok popularity right now and stuff. But people tend to dislike me for I can be funny and stuff like that too. But like, people tend to dislike me because of the disorder because they know now. But like I said previously, they didn't know I had it. But when I come out in public and people start sharing my stuff, and I had but some people that I do know in real life do reach out to me and be like, oh my God, I would have never guessed you had that. All the conversations we had and stuff like that, and you listened to me and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, cool. Because one real estate agent called me one day. She said she was dealing with somebody that was treating her terribly or whatever. So she got on YouTube and she was just like looking at narcissist videos, and she saw my face. And she's like, what is he doing on here? And she clicked it, and she was just like, what? And, you know, so I've been knowing him for years. You know, we took real estate school together. So she was like, I would have never guessed that. And I was like, and that's the point though. That's the danger behind it, because you'd have never guessed. And people, you know, I know people like, he's too nice. He's too aware to be a narcissist. Like, he talks too good to be a narcissistic person. But that's the point though. It's like covert narcissism is the point. Like, you would never suspect it. So if I am mentally abusing somebody, you would never guess it if they came out and told it out loud. It's like, he mentally abused me. He was lying to me, cheated on me. And they're like, no, he's actually a pretty funny guy. He's a great person. Like, no. So my reputation would precede myself. So you can't really say anything bad about me with people not believing it. So I kind of came out in the open and talked about it more. And people are just like, wow, I would have never guessed that. And it actually helps me process my thought process with my dad or with my mom or my current wife or husband or whatever like that. It helps me move on from them to know that, you know, they might not ever be able to treat me like that. I need to be treated. So like, you know, I don't want to break up relationships and stuff like that, but people tend to be getting treated terribly by narcissists, and that's where the stigma comes from. Like, because a lot of narcissists do treat people terribly because they don't know what's going on inside their heads. They're just like reacting, you know, and you know.
So how so? What are some of the, like, you know, some of these things that a narcissist, a typical narcissist, will do? Somebody just commented, yes, people say it all the time about my husband. He's so great to everyone else. So is it like, so to their immediate, they're real bad, but then to everybody else, they're great? And like, how do, you know, what are some of these things that they do?
typically the people closest to a narcissist get treated the worst. They just get, it's either the kids, the wife, the husband. People closest to the narcissistic person do get treated the worst, because like you have the people closest to the narcissist have the ability to hurt the narcissist more than anybody else, because they know the truth about them. They can expose them, so they have to kind of keep you close, but at arm's length at the same time. It's kind of like grabbing you by the collar and pulling you in, but taking the other hand and pushing you away. You know, it's just kind of like doing it at the same time. Like, so they do stuff to show you they love and care about you, but they also lie to you, cheat on you, do all kinds of manipulative stuff to you behind the scenes where people would never guess that this happening to you. So a lot of times when like victims of narcissistic abuse come forward, people don't believe them. So that's why they keep quiet. It's like, what I'm gonna do? Why I'm gonna say anything about this person? Nobody's gonna believe me. I might as well keep it to myself and just let that person go on with their life, with their livelihood and stuff like that, because no one would ever believe me. No one would ever say anything like that as well. So it just, that's what I'm trying to help people with too. I'm just like, my goal is to just bring awareness to it. So a lot of people don't have answers to what they're going through. So that they pop up my YouTube video, my TikTok, my Instagram, they're like, whoa, that sounds like my wife right there. But that sounds like my husband. Like, wait,
right.
I walk on eggshells every day. I don't feel right. Well, I can't express my emotions to this person because they get angry at me. Because one of the main symptoms of narcissist is like rage. Narcissistic rage is a thing. So when you express yourself to a narcissist, or you trying to convey your emotions to a narcissist, they'll get mad at you. Like, shut up. I don't want to hear it right now. Blah, blah, and they'll scream at you and yell at you. Because I tell people this all the time, like, anger is the easiest emotion to express. And I know a lot of people say it's a secondary emotion, but anger is literally the easiest thing to express. So anger gets the job done. So I can tell a situation where a normal person would tell you, I love you, like I'm listening to you. A narcissist will say the same thing. It will say, look, just shut up, be quiet right now. I want to talk about it. And both situations have been resolved, but one of them is lingering. One of the situations is lingering, right, put on pause because you just got screamed at and yelled at. But the narcissist goal was to get you to be quiet. So the goal was achieved, but like now you don't feel like you were heard and things like that. So this situation is like, it just continues going on and on and on until somebody puts a stop to it, until somebody brings awareness to it and things like that, And like I say, I think people think, like, a lot of people have started to think I'm just like a male feminist out here trying to demonize men because, everybody thinks only men can be narcissists, but like women can be narcissists as well, And I try to explain that stuff to people I do a lot of skits and demonstrations. So I try to explain to people that women can be narcissists as well. You might be raised by a narcissistic mother that made you feel guilty about leaving her or doing anything for yourself, that you didn't appreciate her sacrificing everything to raise you. Hey, baby, I sacrificed everything to raise you. You need to be grateful for this, and just like, and stuff like that to take you on a guilt trip and things of that nature.
Man, this is so interesting. So I want to kind of bring it back to the gamification stuff. I'm still laughing about how I thought that I am so glad that you are doing what you're doing and that this is so cool. But so I want to so gamification, as I said at the beginning, it's a big part. Like, to me, it's all about kind of tricking your brain into wanting to take the actions that are good for you, to healing. So I want to kind of ask you how you're maybe gamifying your narcissism. And it's probably a tricky question for somebody that doesn't quite understand it.
Explain again how you just said it, though. I was getting a grasp.
Oh, no worries. I was saying, how do you gamify your narcissism? And so, for example, the way I would see it, and when I say gamify, I mean using science, technology, using kind of the tools around you to bring awareness and to help not only others but yourself. To me, I mean, I think it's pretty clear, the TikTok that you're using, right? So perfect. Yeah. So that's why I wanted to get clarity on. So yeah, I would say definitely gamification falls in. That's actually the perfect definition of what I do, because I've had to actually manipulate my mind into, expose myself and going through shame and regret and stuff like that, which is my biggest fear, is like shame, fear, and regret. I expose myself to feed my ego and stuff like that sometimes, because, the likes and the subscribers and the followers don't really do anything for me. Well, but when people say they change, like that I changed their lives and stuff like that, I have manipulated my mind into just like taking that as an ego boost, as opposed to putting people down and manipulating people and lying to people. Because, in the narcissistic brain, like putting people down helps to pick us up. It helps to when a narcissist puts somebody down,
it's to build themselves up. Like, now I feel better because God put you, I took you down a notch, and I picked myself up a notch. So now I don't have to do that. I've kind of tricked my brain into, like, I can pick you up a notch, and I can go.
I love it.
You know, why can't we help each
other?
Why can't it be a symbiotic relationship where we're both gaining something, and, you know, we're both gaining? And, like, do people get hurt in the process sometimes? Yeah, but no matter what you do, you're gonna offend somebody, you're gonna hurt somebody's feelings and stuff like that. But, like, the goal is to always help way more than you hurt. So I've definitely have to manipulate my brain into taking good stuff, like flipping it to a good thing as opposed to a bad thing. Like, where you can get a little gain, I can get a little gain. Because, like I said, throughout these self-help books and stuff like that I've read over the years, it's just like, the more people you help get what they want, you get what you want. You know, and that's what, like this one of the terms that kind of flows through all the books that I've been reading, you know, and all the stuff that I've read and hear. It's like, so I've been, like, helping more people get what they want, and I've been getting what I want, you know. So it's kind of like I said, a symbiotic relationship where, like, everybody, it works together, it flows together. So it definitely has helped. Like, but I have, like, literally had to manipulate my mind to doing this type of stuff. Like, yeah, I just, like, had to trick myself and, like, okay, you can help people and you can feel just as good. You can get that same high from her, like, yelling and screaming as you can from lifting people up and just like, hey, look, congrats on that right there. Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of like we raise each other, you know. I'm climbing, but I'm pulling people up with me. You know, it's not going up the mountain by yourself. Like, you can climb and pull people up with you at the same time. So yeah, I've definitely, like, I feel like that definition is very good, you know. Man,
dude, I'm so glad I asked you that question. You just nailed that. Not a lot of people can kind of grasp that, the gamification of it. To me, it's, I mean, I was saying at the beginning when, you know, and we would have talked about gamification regardless of who I thought you were, because it's a big part of what I'm doing. You know, I think it's really neat to see how, you know, the great Stan Lee, what is his quote? With great power, there must also come great responsibility. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, we have all this technology, we have all these things, and it's like, okay, how are you using it? How, you know, are you using it for good or evil? Have you seen that documentary, The Social Dilemma, by chance?
No, I haven't watched it yet. People keep.
You gotta watch that, man.
I need to watch it. Yeah, I do need to watch it. Yeah.
You'd love it. It ties into kind of what we're talking about, in that a lot of these companies, you know, I don't think they started out to be evil, like Facebook, Larry Page from Google, Mark Zuckerberg, but the genie's out of the bag, and they kind of, they have to make a profit. They owe their shareholders, you know, the fiduciary responsibility to make as much money as possible. That has nothing to do with the wellness and the happiness of its users, right? So it's people like you and me that are actually going out there, and people are going to be addicted to their phones regardless. You can't stop that. But if they're going to be addicted, let's have them seeing things like what you're doing, and you're kind of gamifying it. You're edutainment. You're helping people learn, and they're enjoying the ride. They're improving. You're improving because you're getting that feedback. And like you said, it's a symbiotic, beautiful relationship.
Yeah. That's like I said, when you describe what gamification is, I like, that's literally what I've been doing. I was like, hey, that puts it in such simpler terms right there, like one word. Which I love it. That's why I wanted you to repeat it. I was like, wait, what you just say? Like, yeah. What I've been doing, like, in way less words. You know, I'm just like, okay, that's cool, because that's literally what I've been doing, like, through my therapy session, because I was trying to figure out how, like, of course, therapy benefits me because I get to go home and talk to my wife and have a relationship with my wife and kids and things like that. But it also, I was like, it can be so much bigger than what it is. Like I say, I think back to those little narcissist groups I was in on Facebook when everybody joined in there. I thought it felt like they just run into the room and just dive on the floor and start crying. Like, my life is over. I'm like, why do you feel like that? You know, I'm just like, this is weird. Like, we got to feel like this because, you know, because, like, we literally have, you know, like a disorder. Like, I just like, okay, but then I said, I like, let me go speak on this. Let me tell my friends and family first. So I started doing videos on my personal Facebook page. Like, hey guys, I've been in therapy. This is what I've been going through. And, you know, I thought I was gonna get a lot of hate and stuff like that, but people, like, were literally coming out just like, oh my goodness, that sounds so good. And people started like, other real estate agents started calling me and just having conversations with me about it. Like, man, I feel that same way. So I've been on this. I've been, like, you gave me so many answers by that video you did. Like, this feels like I feel great now. I feel like I'm not by myself going through this. I feel like I'm not alone in this mindset. One of my constant my constant thoughts was like, I felt like I'm by myself. I always felt like nobody would understand what I was going through. Nobody would understand this mindset. And I always felt like I was by myself, even though I had a twin brother. You know, even though I had a lot of friends and stuff in high school, I played sports and stuff like that. I just felt like nobody would understand me. But the fact that I come out now, I'm talking about it, and so many people understand. Man, like, it's, you know, I like, it's insane. Like, even like people in those groups I was in, those groups used to be like 200 or 300 people. Now there's like 6,000 people in there, you know, talking about their personality disorders and their mental health and their therapy and trying to get help because they saw my video. Like, I was like, that's cool. You know, I just sit back and watch, like, that is insane. That is really, really cool. I'm like, I like that, you know. I get the same good feeling I used to get from screaming and raging, getting all the anger out. I got that from reading a status that was dedicated to me, not knowing I was in that group. They didn't know I was in that group. They're just like, I'm tired of hurting my wife and kids or whatever. I was like, I need some help. And watching Lee Hammock's videos on YouTube really opened my eyes up to this. I'm like, yeah, I give my little self a clap. I'm like, yay, you know.
Who's the group, by the way? I may have interviewed. Who's the person that runs the group that you're in? Is it Rebecca?
Who?
Rebecca Zung, by any chance?
Oh, no. It's a different group. I know who she is. I think I just saw her YouTube just popped up. But this is a group for like people with the personality disorder. It's like people it's like self-aware narcissist groups, so people who have been diagnosed with it. So it's a group that like not for like some survivors or, you know, victims tend to join the groups or whatnot to learn and ask questions, trying to get clarity on how to live their lives better with their, you know, current significant other, their brothers or family member or whoever they're dealing with. But most of the people in there are like literally people who have been in therapy or trying to get the therapy. Like me, when I first got started, like in 2016, I was just in those groups, quiet, kind of scared, like I don't want to get judged. I just want but then you start seeing people's statuses come up, and you see people's statuses and like that's like something that I would write. You know, it's just like a safe space for narcissists, which sounds weird, you know. It would be in there like I was. That sounds like me. I was like, yeah,
right. I mean, but just to know you're not alone and there's other people, it makes you just feel again like you're not this like freak of nature. But it's like, okay, you know, this is my brain works this way. Other people's brains work this way, and you know, just talk. I mean, that's really wonderful. Again. The Stanley technology, you guys are using it the right way. So kudos, good for you. I love it. I love hearing that stuff.
Like when you describe gamification, I was like, that's exactly it. Like, that's like the perfect definition for what I've like literally been doing. That's why I want you to repeat it. I was like, that's it. I've been saying that for so long. I was like literally, this is why I've had to kind of manipulate my mind and my state to get that same feeling I used to get from being raging and screaming and stuff like that, to like helping people. It attribute me to, you know, helping them move on with their lives and helping them like live better existences. I was like that's it right there, you know.
I love it, man.
You know,
well, let's do they do on TikTok? I just started an account. You're way ahead of me. I'm preaching my stuff just like you are. We should do an interview on there. Can you do interviews on there?
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that. You can do it. I think they call it a dual live. So you can do like kind of.
Let's do a. Let's do. I'll set that up if you're interested. We can talk about gamification and narcissism. I think a lot of people would be really interested.
Like I said, that's exactly what I've been doing right there. Like I said, that's the perfect definition for exactly what I've been trying to preach to people. You know, that might be diagnosed, that might think they have traits and things like that. But like you can if you put the work and time in and just want to it's hard work. You know what I mean? I always tell people it's harder. It's hard. I think it's harder to be aware of the stuff that you've been doing than it is to be unaware. Because like if you're unaware, you just kind of living your life. You might notice something's going on. You might know that you're different, but you're still living your life. Like being aware, like everything like comes full circle. Like you see the stuff that you're doing. Like you can make active choices. I'm like, I can choose to be bad right now, but I'm not gonna do it. You know, I was just like, it'd be better. Like bad does not benefit me right now. So it's good.
It's like more you're stepping outside and you're not just seeing a foot in front of you and like the low hanging fruit, that also ties to gamification. It's sort of like tricking your brain into seeing the big picture, the whole game, and not just, you know, what's directly in front of you, but sort of saying, okay, like if I do this, what's the long-term repercussion?
Yeah, and that's the problem with a lot of narcissists right there, because they'll grab their low-hanging fruit right there because it's right there in front of you. Like, oh, it's right here, you know what I mean? And it's like literally grab it because it's easier. Like it might have some spots on it, it might be a little rotten, but it's easier to grab and chew around that than it is to climb a little tree and get a fresh piece. You know what I mean? It's easier to grab.
I love it. So, right. And it's that low hanging fruit. I was just saying that, you know, I preach it all the time. Like discipline is what we need to be happy. Like if we just succumb to our every, like, oh, I want to do this, it feels good. That short term, what's in front of us versus like, you know what? I need to have the discipline to take the actions that I know are actually good for me and are going to lead to my being happy. And if you can have that discipline, That's happiness. And our world is heading in the direction of less and less discipline, because you can click a button and get whatever you want. You know, you see these 15-year-olds on TikTok that are making zillions of dollars. And, I can do that. You know, it's like, well, no, it's still, yeah. I mean, there's one out of 100 million are gonna, but you still have to be good at what you do. You got to put in the work. You got to put in the time, and you know, and it feels good when you earn it, right? Just like a trust fund, baby. It doesn't feel good when, like if somebody gets $1 million handed to them on their 18th birthday, versus somebody that earned that $1 million on their 18th birthday. You go 10 years in the future. Let's just see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. What you just said though just kind of resonated with me too, because like you said, one of like 10 million people. People don't focus on the 10 million. They focus on that one. Like, well, there's already one of. Why can't I be the second one? You know, and they focus on that one, and they put that. They like I said, they just focus on that one. They try to do the instant gratification stuff like that, because like, you know, society is moving is like you said, everything at the tip of your fingers, like dating, tip of your fingers, you know, food, like literally everything. Like you don't have to leave the house no more. Like you can literally sit in the house and get everything you want. You work from home, you can date from home, you can you can eat from home. Like you literally don't have to leave your house anymore. Like, and that's the way society has, you know, that's the way the world is headed from. Like I can talk to my Alexa and have her order me something from Amazon, or you know, it's just like everything is like it's microwave society, like instant gratification, like quick, right here. Like people don't want to work for it because they see like somebody else that didn't have to work for it. Like, oh, you got $1 million on your 18th birthday? Why didn't I get that? You know, and then just the mindset. It's just the mindset of society today. So I definitely understand that right there, because I was one of the people who focused on the one of the one of 10 million. Like, why can't I be that one?
Why can't I be that one? Right. And that's that victim. I mean, to me, it all comes back to, like, you want to talk about 10K view, that victim versus owner mentality, right? If you're a victim in life, it's all like, my brain's broken, and or you know, maybe I'll win the lottery. Maybe I'll just keep posting. I'll get lucky, and I'm not really going to put much time and effort into. Versus an owner that goes, okay, here's what I want to do in life. This is where I want to be. This is how many. You know, this is the influence I want to have. This is my goal, and how do I get there? And I need to keep. And like you were saying earlier, you read all these books. Like people don't probably understand that. They just go, oh, this guy. Just like, here's an example. Somebody probably sees you and goes, oh, this guy just started talking about his narcissism, and now he's got like all these followers. It's like, no, this has been a journey for you.
Oh my God. Yes. People think it's just like, it started 4 years ago in therapy, but no, it started way before that, because like I said, I've been reading, like, I'll show you, my Audible app is full, like literally full of books and stuff like that I've been reading. Like, I haven't read the Bible I wouldn't have read the Bible last year, because I wanted to open my mind up to like more religious aspects and like the higher power and stuff like that. The book I'm reading right now, I'm actually reading the Quran right now. I want to see that side of things. You know, I'm just like, I've been trying to open my mind to receiving information for a very, very long time. So when you go to therapy, you receive a diagnosis of like, or when your wife screams it at you, and then you go to therapy, like my mind is more open to receiving things, because I've been like, I've been receiving information for the longest. It's helped me get this far. Like, why can't I receive more information that I can use to better myself? Because, you know, whatever you have, like people twist it, and people can twist and turn their situation into something good. Like, I saw a guy the other day on TikTok got cut in half on a construction site accident, and now he got a YouTube channel with millions of followers. I'm like, that is like, he flipped it into something good. Like, he got his body cut in half, and like, which a lot of people would give up on, but like, he flipped it into a YouTube channel where he gets millions. I don't think he had millions of subscribers. He gets millions of views. I'm like, which is like, they flipped that into something good. They could have just been sitting at home, not filming it.
Right. Feeling sorry for themselves.
Yep.
Victim versus owner. I love it, man. Well, dude, I don't want to. We got to save some for. We're gonna do a dual live. I'll have my person set that up. I mean, this is awesome. TikTok, we can crush it. I mean, people will eat this up, especially on TikTok. Not that. I have my podcast, so I'm gonna be. You know, we're gonna cut up the best clips from here. We're gonna put it on our Instagram page. We're also gonna, you know, have our podcast, put it on our other pages as well, and then let's do one live on TikTok. I like to end the interviews with this question, you know, and I guess I'll frame it in terms of the narcissism. What is a failure habit you had when you were a narcissist that, since becoming aware, and going through therapy and self-awareness and all these changes and seeing what the symptom is, what have you replaced that with? What kind of habit maybe have you replaced that with that's helping you build versus lose momentum?
I feel like the worst thing I used to do before I was diagnosed, before I was aware, I wasn't open to listening to other people, like people who I knew, people who were close to me. I wasn't open to listening to them because they never had the lifestyle that I wanted. Like, I read so many books, like, don't listen, like, if they don't have the lifestyle you want, don't take advice from them. So I would just immediately shut people down or cut them off or just like scream at them, yell at them, depending on which role they played in my life, I wouldn't listen to them. But now, where I'm at right now, I'm more open to listening to people and not taking everything as criticism, because that's one of the traits of narcissism. Like, everything that's not good is received as criticism. So I was just like,
not taking things personally.
Yep, not taking things personally. I just listen to it, like, even though I might take it personally at first, I'm like, oh, I was like, wait, what do they mean by this? So I've learned to kind of slow down and receive information differently and process it before I respond. So I think I would say now I respond versus reacting. Like, I take time to respond versus like hearing it and reacting immediately. So I take time now, just like, okay, let me see where this is going, and then like let me process. And just that simple thing right there has helped me live a very, very a better existence than what I used to live. It's helped me go.
I love it, man. Again, owner versus victim.
Yeah.
Responding versus reacting, right?
Yeah.
An owner takes the bull by the horns and says, this is how I'm going to handle it, versus just, it's coming at me and there's nothing I can do about it and I'm just going to play defense. Dude, thank you so much for being on, Lee. This was awesome. This turned into a little...
Yeah, I've written down some notes too, because I got a lot from it too. I was like, the word discipline, I put in capital letters over here. I was like, I gotta focus on the discipline more.
Discipline, man. Yeah. So I have a whole. I've been typing away. Yeah, I wasn't working on the project. I always kind of try to hide it, but I know sometimes it's, I take notes on the show and I highlight the things and I let my people know, hey, these are the clips I want you to clip out, because we had some real gems in here. So. Awesome, man. We'll set up a dual live. I'm looking forward to it. And thanks for being on, Lee.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Take care, bud.
That's it for the 5 Core Life. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button on this video and pound that subscribe button so you get notified when new episodes drop. Also, please fill out the free 5 Core Life Evaluator quiz. It's a great way to get a baseline of where you are in the 5 cores and which of the 5 cores you need support. In addition, you'll get some actionable advice that you can apply and start improving your life in the areas that you need it most. That's it for today's episode of the 5 Core Life Podcast. Have a wonderful day.
Get moving. Gain momentum. Join the movement. Join Emmett by going to moremomentum.com to take a free life evaluator quiz on where you currently stand in each of your 5 cores.